right. What's up, guys? Welcome. This is Strength for Today's Man, Volume 72. Thank you for tuning in today. Today, I want to read from Jeremiah 29, 10, and 11. See, many of us, we know Jeremiah 29, 11 because all we think about are the good things that God has for us. We think about a great future. We think about prosperity. We think about wealth. We think about health. We think about everything that's positive. Well, today I got a little spin for you. Jeremiah 29, 10, and 11, where it says, "This is what the Lord says. When 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will come to you and fulfill my good promise to bring you back to this place. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." Now, we all love 29:11. Today's topic is trust the process, because you got to come through verse 10 before you get to verse 11. All too often, verse 11 of Jeremiah 29 gives people a sense of excitement, gives them a sense of joy, because they're thinking about their future. They're thinking about all that God is getting ready to do for them. They can see that God has plans for good. That's all we think about, our future, 29:11. But in order to get to 29:11, you got to come through 10 first. You have to come through verse 10 first. We forget about what 10 says. We forget about all that the children of Israel has gone through in order to get to 29:11. We forget what we're going through today before we get to 29:11. We will be in captivity for however long. They were in captivity for 70 years. 70 years. God lets his people know that the future is bright. Yes, he lets them know. But his will doesn't necessarily change circumstances overnight. In order for you to get to 29:11, you got to come through verse 10. You got to go through your captivity. You got to go through whatever it is that you have to go through in order to get to 29:11. It may be 70 years. It may be 7 years. Maybe 7 weeks. It may be 7 days. Or it may be 7 hours. Doesn't matter what it is. You got to come through verse 10 before you get to verse 11. But you have to trust the process. You have to trust that God said in his word, "I know the plans I have for you." As long as you can hold on to that, no matter how long verse 10 takes, you know that your future is bright. You know that your future is good. As men, I like coming to you, talking to you first. As men, sometimes we just want to know what the plan is, and then we settle. Why do we settle? We need to stop settling on finding out what the plan is. Okay, what's the plan? As soon as we find the plan, we're going to settle. That's it. I'm done. Okay, I'll just wait for everything to come to fruition. No. Don't work like that. You got to trust the process, yes, but you have to come through verse 10 in order to get to verse 11 to know that your future is bright. Now, you can think about verse 11 all you want while you're going through your captivity, while you're going through your trials, while you're going through your tribulations. Women, you already understand that in order to get to verse 11, you already in verse 10 and you just handling it. You taking care of business. You doing what it takes. You laying before God. You're praying. You're fasting. You're studying. You're crying out to God because you are in verse 10 and you are ready to come out of verse 10. God, bring me out of verse 10. I am so ready for verse 11. God, you said you know the plans for me. Can I come out of verse 10 yet? And God is saying, not yet. Not yet. Trust the process. I got you. There's so much I have planned for you. Just wait. Be patient. Verse 10 is about to end, y'all. You are about to come out of your verse 10. You're about to come out of your captivity and walk into verse 11. Sometimes we need to realize that the plan may include a process. There's a process in life. And all I'm telling you guys to do today is trust the process, because you have to come through verse 10 in order to get to verse 11. We want to understand things right away. I know I do. There's certain things I want to understand right now. Why is this happening right now? I need to know right now, but it's not for us to know things right now. We just got to trust the process and come through verse 10. That's the process. Sometimes God even allows the process to take longer than we might like. That's why the children of Israel were in there 70 years, because there were some people in there that needed to die off first. There's a lot of things in your life that need to die off before you can get to verse 11. There's a lot of people that need to die off in your life before you get to verse 11. There's a lot of habits that has to die out of your life in order for you to get to verse 11. There are a lot of hangups in your life right now that you got to get rid of in verse 10 in order for you to get to verse 11. But you have to trust the process. You have to know that God has everything in control, and he's just allowing you to go through just a little longer to let all that negativity to drop off in verse 10 so you can walk through verse 11 free. Many of you want to get to verse 11 and you still got a lot of baggage. You want to get to verse 11 and you still got hangups. You want to get to verse 11 and you still got a lot of sin in your life. Well, however long verse 10 takes, you better know when you get to verse 11, it's going to be well worth it. We need to trust this day. Trust this day that God has a great plan and a will for you. And also know that it's a process in order to get to verse 11. Trust the process. Verse 11 is right around the corner. I know you're tired. I know you're sick. I know you're unhappy. I know you're disappointed. I know you're depressed. I know you're oppressed. I know you're suppressed. I know you're under all of this stress. But no, your verse 10 is not going to last that much longer. Trust the process. Know that verse 11 has your name on it. God is working on your behalf. And even though it doesn't seem like much is happening right now, because your verse 10 is at a standstill, your verse 10 is going around in circles, your verse 10 keeps going in and out of the revolving door, know this, that doesn't mean that God is not working. God is working on your behalf. Trust the process. You're in verse 10 right now, but verse 11 is coming. I'm going to close with this, guys. God, help me to trust your will for my life. Help me to trust the process. Give me the ability to be okay with the process. Trust the process. Verse 11 is coming. You're coming out of verse 10. It's time to walk in verse 11. This is Strength for Today's Man, Volume 72. I'm Malachi Mitchell. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, liking the channel, and sharing the channel. Let's grow together. Don't keep it to yourself. Share the wealth. I look forward to seeing you again right back here for another podcast. You guys be blessed.